Welcome! This is my short course on how to make your first 1000 bucks from content. And this is part number 10. There's only one more left. Today we're talking about how to get sales now and not later. Because when people buy later, most of them don't really buy. Hi, my name is Jordan Parker. I'm the guy who creators come to when they want to scale their business. Or when they're annoyed by the algorithm stealing all of their money. As it shockingly often happens. Today we're talking about something hilarious, and that is the fact that people are lunatics. You will see people who have terrible sleep, they will go on a sales page that sells a pill, a gadget, or some other solution for their sleeping problem. They will like the solution so much that they'll click the buy button, and they'll go to the cart page, and 50%, often more than 50%, will abandon the idea of buying this thing forever. This shouldn't be normal behavior, but this is how people are. We have so many different ways and modes of thinking and operations that a lot of final decisions aren't really that final. And what that means is that even if I promise you with all my heart that I'm buying from you in a couple of weeks, the chances of me actually buying are not that high. And the worst part of that, besides stopping us from being billionaires and ruining everyone's lives, obviously, like that's what we do it for, right? Is that people are so indecisive about helping themselves. Because what happens when you buy something, especially if it's expensive, you would feel very guilty for not using it, so you very much commit to that thing. And what happens when you commit to something, you get results. And when you get results, you help yourself and you make progress. And a lot of the most capable people I know simply buy shit to motivate themselves. I have bought courses that I've read like a chapter of just to get myself going in a certain direction. That's absolutely messed up, but this is how people work. So if you want to run a successful business, you will need a way to get people to buy now. And this is what I call a buying trigger. You will need a buying trigger to get people to buy now. And today you'll learn everything about buying triggers. And in the next 3 minutes, you'll learn everything you need to know about buying triggers. But before we get to that, I want to invite you to join Creator Income. Creator Income, which I just updated the landing page for, is where I share all of my insights from 15 years of business stolen from billion-dollar businesses on how you can make more money as a creator. If you want to join, you can find the link below. But now let's talk about buying triggers. The reason why people need them is that after you buy something, the next step is always effort. If I buy a product, I need to use the product. If I buy a service, I need to talk to you and help you deliver the service for me. No matter what happens, when I buy something, the next step is always effort. And people don't want to spend effort on stuff, especially if they're paying money for it. Even though it's inevitable, they don't want to do it. So at the very end of every sale, it can be very useful for you to give them this extra oomph of motivation they might very much need to actually purchase. And the way you do that is by introducing tension. And the only way to release that tension would be buying. For example, let's say you have a headache and I offer you an aspirin. You take the aspirin and maybe in a few hours you don't have a headache. But let's say I offer you a jordaspirin instead, and when you drink that, the headache disappears immediately and forever. Which offer sounds better? Obviously, the offer that removes the pain faster is more interesting, because it is faster. And speed, or the lack of speed, is one way you can introduce tension. Because I can always say, hey, you can just take a normal aspirin instead of buying from me, but you'd have to wait for a few hours for it to work, while with mine you don't have to. Suddenly, there's tension in the choice. Do I want to remove the pain now, or am I willing to suffer through the pain for a longer time? That's tension. And the only way to remove that tension completely is to buy my thing and not just wait. To create tension, what you do is you increase the cost of inaction. You want to make inaction almost as painful as action, and that creates this buying tension that people need to actually buy. And obviously, the more tension you have, the more sales you make. And the best ways to create tension are urgency and scarcity. Urgency means that you need to act now, otherwise the thing will expire in some way, and scarcity means that you need to act now, otherwise the thing is going to be out of stock in some way. Two very good examples for this would be, I'm only taking only one client for my service this month, so if you want to join, now is the time before someone else takes your spot. Or another example would be, if you buy right now, you're going to get my service, and as a bonus you're going to get my checklist that usually costs 50 bucks. Both of those use urgency or scarcity to create more desire and more demand for your service at the time of buying, where you will need it very much so. And as a final note, you want to stay honest with this shit. If you want to limit the supply, limit the supply. If you want to create urgency for something, actually follow your own deadline. When you say in 12 hours the price is gonna increase the price in 12 hours. When you say I only have one slot, close the slots for a while when you sell the last one. Honesty is important not because you need honesty for one sale, it is because honesty is important to make more sales, to make 2, 3, 5, 10 sales. Because people are taking note of what you're doing. And if people see see that you just say shit and then it doesn't matter if the deadline has passed, they can just contact you and still buy, or it doesn't matter if you stopped offering the bonus, they can just ask and still get it. They don't trust your deadline and it stops working. So you want to keep your deadlines real, and that makes them and keeps them powerful. And yeah, that's the whole thing. This is the last step that you need to actually close deals. Tomorrow, we're going to tie everything together by talking about the content and how you can make content to attract people to the system we've built over the last 10 episodes. You can find links to that and everything else below the video. Ciao!